So when I was thinking about what I wanted to do for a podcast this time in this season of America history, I knew that I didn't want to sit there and just bitch about, what had happened was. In other words, I didn't want to talk about the politics of the Obama administration. I didn't want to talk about, Hillary emails. I didn't want to talk about any of the bullshit that actually I had been covering. Not that I didn't believe in it, not that I didn't think it was important, but that it was clear at the end of 2024 that the conversation needed to be different and that I needed to approach the conversation differently. And so that's when I started thinking about how could I continue to use my skills as a journalist to edify the people who follow me and read me and listen and etc. But not get caught up in a doom scrolling sort of mentality or just bitching about Trump for like 20 to 45 minutes, right? Like that's fucking boring to me. And so I started thinking more thematically, like what did I want to get across? I started thinking about topics that interested me. And so that's landed us here. The first episode of the first season of the LZ Granderson Show, and a conversation with Grammy Award-winning artist Ledisi. The reason why I wanted to start this podcast with a conversation with her is because one, she's incredibly talented, but also two, Ledisi found herself in the middle of like this firestorm at the Super Bowl for performing the National Black Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. And while she's not the first person to get caught up in this firestorm, the thing that I loved about her was that she didn't blink in terms of the moment. She had released Black Woman, a kind of like a socially conscious single prior to singing the Black National Anthem. And, if you look at her catalog, throughout her career, she's never been afraid to use her platform and to use her incredible voice to sing about love, to sing about heartache, but also to sing about freedom and passion and liberation and what it means to be Black, what it means to be a Black woman, and what it means to just kind of, be like of a progressive mindset. And I just really admired that about her. Always have, and always have of any artist of her caliber who is willing to use their artistry in that capacity. And so, the LZ Granderson Show is beginning with a conversation with Ledisi, and it's actually the first in 4 consecutive conversations we're going to have, all regarding this one simple question, which is, what are Black creatives doing now in this particular moment in time in America? I don't need to do a total recap in terms of, how life in America has been after, the 2024 election. But I did want to sort of have a conversation about what we were experiencing from a perspective of positivity, from a perspective of productivity, and from a perspective of proactivity. In other words, I just didn't want to get caught up in the woe is me mentality. And so this first episode, this first conversation, is just sort of about her creative process. How she arrived at Black Woman, how she processed all the controversy regarding singing the National Black Anthem at the Super Bowl, and just what she's hoping to put forth in front of the world going forward as she's continuing to explore her own artistry. It's an amazing conversation, only in the sense that I think we both were just so cash with it that we look like shit, I think. And we probably at times sound crazy as hell. But at the core are 2 people, 2 Black Americans, 2 members of Generation X, 2 humans who are looking around and trying to figure out, how do I fit in? And perhaps more importantly, how can I contribute to the positivity of the collective? And, I hope you enjoy some of the places that we explore during this conversation. So I want to begin this conversation, Ledisi, first by thanking you for this podcast for even happening. And let me explain to you why. When I was on the fence about putting this thing together because there's a billion and one podcast and there's this whole thing about why would anyone want to listen to me or what I have to say. And just when that tipping of the fence was heading towards don't do it, save your time, save your energy, I get this phone call out of the blue from this multi-time Grammy-winning vocalist, producer, lyricist, diva, actress extraordinaire. And just out of the blue, she just starts saying, you have to do this podcast. Oh my God, you must do this podcast. You have to go out. I love independent people. Oh my God, you must do this. In fact, not only will you do this, when you start doing it, I will be on your show. And so it is so freaking amazing that after you putting that kick in the butt that I need at the exact time that I needed it, that the timing worked out, that you're the very first guest of the very first season of the very first episode of the LZ Granderson Show. So thank you so much for, whatever led you to making that phone call. God bless you. Thank you so much for having the courage to follow. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I thank you for following that fear. Usually the door of fear, the blessing is on the other side of it. So you have to go through that door every time. So I'm proud of you. You made it.
Listen, girl, I'm real close to that door. Don't say yeah yet. I can run back. And I'm fast.
No. We need you. We need your voice. You're incredible, LZ. You understand people. You understand the energy. You speak it out even when it's scary. You've always done that. So why not do it on a platform that's yours?
Well, thank you. I'm going to try. And you're the perfect person for this conversation, not just because of the encouragement to do this podcast, but because of what this conversation is about. So I started thinking about how I wanted to acknowledge Not Like Us and the 1 year anniversary of the Popout and Juneteenth, and just what that moment meant, not in terms of Grammys or sales or streams, but in terms of culture and in terms of what was actually being said on a much larger scale at the heart of that song and at the heart of the conversation that Kendrick was trying to have. And so I was like, okay, here we are a year later, and culturally, we're, at a different place. Politically, we're at a really scary place. And everything that I keep reading in the 1950s, 60s, and even to the 1970s from our favorite artists all say this is the time that artists speak out. This is the time that artists are supposed to branch out. And so I thought, who else better to do this than the woman who, one, was at the center of a controversy at the Super Bowl that Kendrick performed at because she's had the nerve to sing the Black National Anthem in front of America. But then also, too, before you did that, you released what I think is one of the most incredible songs that I've heard in a really long time about this moment. That's Black Woman. So I think I want to start the conversation with there. Before we get into the controversy and the Super Bowl, let's start with you writing Black Woman. What led you to do that? Because in hindsight, it almost looks as if you were doing it in response to what was going on with the vice president at the time who was running for president. But that's not necessarily true in terms of the timeline, correct?
Absolutely not. I wrote Black Woman. I had the song probably 5 months. I had the track for 5 months and couldn't write anything to it and sat on it. And again, this project has been like a painting. It wasn't supposed to exist. I wrote Love You Too, top of my summer, and that was it. I had a single. I said, if I want to tour again, at least I'll have a single. I wasn't trying to write a whole album.
Really?
No. And then July, we got a call to do the Super Bowl. And I said, oh, I guess I better write more. And Rex said, wait. I like how relaxed you are. Do not stress yourself out about an album. Just write.
And Rex will be...
Right? Rex is my longtime producer that I've worked with for over 27 years. And he said, we did Lost and Found together. We started there. And we've been writing and producing together for a long time. But he said, don't stress. Just keep this relaxed mode. And if you get to an end of an album, then you get to the end. Well, December Black Woman was the last song I wrote. And Kendrick came along, and I woke up at 4 a.m. on a Sunday, 4 or 3 a.m., I can't remember. And I was watching everything that had gone on. I was on a Zoom call with all these women, political high figure women that are talking about just keep moving forward, blah, blah, blah. And it made me cry. I had so much joy, but it made me cry. And then I went to bed, but I woke up and said, oh, I have an idea. And when I was writing, I was crying. I wrote Black Woman like a poem. If you hear it, it can be a poem without music. And it felt so natural. Everything came off the top of my head. I didn't write it down. I just started singing. And I thought about my mother. I thought about all those women. I thought about my aunt. I thought about my sisters. I thought about myself being a Black woman and what I've contributed to this world and to our country, all the women that have contributed to our world. And when I finished it, I sent it to Rex and he said, you got to send it to Tyler. And I said, whatever I do with it, it needs to be cinematic. It can't just be a regular thing. I want to celebrate women, Black women. And when I sent it, Tyler, I never asked him for anything. He said, what are you doing with this? It went bananas. See, it's a visual song celebrating us.
Yes.
And he went bananas over it. And then I said, I need a video of just Black women celebrating us, and black and white, just simple. And he did it. Said the next day I got it, and he said put it up, and then it went viral. You know, I wasn't expect. The album ain't even finished yet. One, two is out, but nothing else is out, and that wasn't supposed to be something I give to the world. It just went there, and it went viral, and everyone reposted it. Michelle Obama, Alicia Keys, Tracy Ellis Ross, Angela Bassett. It just went freaking viral. And I was like, what is going on? And I got it now. Women needed to hear this song. But I was writing for myself. I was grieving all the joy I had. I was, because there was pain in there, but there was also this joy of profound proud. I was just so proud of my women, of the people. And I didn't want my year to end on a sad note. I wanted to end on this joy I have for our culture and the contributions of Black women. And it became political because political women heard my voice in that. But just like any other singer or creator, like Miriam Anderson and Mahalia Jackson, I rose to the occasion. Artists are supposed to ignite this feeling of you are this, you are history, you are powerful, you are great. Don't you forget it. I don't care. In chaos, I don't know. I just activate naturally. It's from where I'm from.
I'm so glad you made that pivot there, because to me, Black woman stood out because you dared to stand out. We were still, when I say we, I'm including myself in this. Harris voters who were disappointed, and Harris voters who were disappointed and also very cognizant of what was coming. We didn't have to fuck around and find out. We already knew because we had it well documented through song, through history, through sermon, through speeches, through documentaries. Like we knew already. And so we decided that let somebody else handle it. Let someone else do it. And so the sentiment at that time of Black woman, wasn't counter to that, but it also didn't have the bitterness of that or the frustration of that. And that's the part that I really love most about the song, was that, yes, but it wasn't built on the fact of disappointment, but rather resilience and beauty. And the timing of it couldn't have been more perfect.
And I didn't expect that, wasn't thinking of any of that, just creating. I just had, maybe subconsciously I was, maybe. I'll give myself a little bit of, but there's a God space. When God says do, you just do. And that's what I felt I was moving in. And I'm glad it helped somebody. I didn't know it was going to help all of y'all.
Well, you know.
It helped me. It helped me a lot. I was by myself. When you're creating, I don't know, when you're truly creating, you're not,
Hmm.
you don't have an intention of this. You just have an intention of releasing whatever that feeling is. And that's why I
Absolutely.
created this moment. I'm glad it resonated with the times. What a lucky,
Absolutely.
what a blessing. What a blessing that is.
You know, it's so interesting when I think about our relationship, which, began, for me in earnest with you singing Nina and being moved to the point in which I decided to use my little platform that I had to write a piece and just say, this music got me through. Because think about 2020, 2021, 2022. Like, we're talking about some really dark periods and there was a lot of isolation. And myself as a roving reporter, I'm by myself a lot. When I'm out reporting or spending time in a different community, I move a lot and I'm by myself a lot. And so your music, your voice, and Nina's words were so important to me. That's why I wrote the piece. And so for you to read it and then to acknowledge me and to acknowledge, my sentiment was just like absolutely incredible. And I just like, Nina actually was such a pivotal point for me. But when I think about you lyrically, I think that's, at least from an outside looking in, that's where you just sort of took a different turn. Is that accurate to say? Because Good Life and is such a pivot. And just when I was just chomping on that, you hit us again. And I was like, oh, wait a minute now. But it's so good. And the lyrics are so tangible. And there's such texture. And there's, there's warmth, and there's pain, but there's wisdom in that pain. It isn't pain for pain's sake. It's pain for knowledge's sake. And I don't know. And it just seemed to really start after Nina. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. She gave me freedom. Okay, my relationship with her, again, I heard her on the radio when I was ready to leave the earth, to commit suicide and to have Trouble in Mind play and wake me out of that funk. That's the power of music, right? And I always promise I'm going to tribute her when the time comes. And then when I tributed her, and I was hoping my contribution, people not only heard her voice, but also heard Ledisi as a full artist, because I needed to go through her. There's 5 women I've wanted to tribute. I have one more to do, and that's coming out later this year. But Nina was the
Oh,
bug
see,
in.
you teasing us now. See why you
Nina,
teasing us?
I'll explain more. But Nina was the one that kept tapping, I want to go first. Because the project that you'll hear later this year was the one I was going to do when I did Nina. But the time, the error, like you said, it was a lot going on. It was time for her part to come through. I had so much pushback for that album. And I spent my
From
savings.
who?
Different labels did not want it. Different labels said yes, then said no. They weren't convinced it would sell or do well. I didn't care about selling. I care about creating as an artist. How can I get it out? So I did it myself and my label with BMG helping me because they weren't convinced. I started as a jazz artist. I listened to R&B forever, but I started as a jazz artist. So I knew I can put this record out. I sang in French. You heard it all. It's all in there, right? Proof of all the things that I love and learned. And being from New Orleans, you do everything. You don't do just one. You're a hybrid of many things. So anyway, putting that out and then seeing you write a piece that expressed exactly how I felt, it blew me away. It blew me away. The whole intention behind it, someone got it, and I had to reach out. I had to lift your name because you felt how I felt creating it. You felt how I felt when I see the people responding to it. I can't describe that. Only someone of your stature that understands words like me as a lyricist and a songwriter You got it. You're a word person too, a life person. You understand life through words and visuals and sonically, even though you're not actually doing it. So I had to tell you, oh, thank you for getting it. And then when
I screen grabbed and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to be the one retweet. No, I'm going to just do it discreetly. like I got some
and I
sense.
didn't
I
know
got a
you.
business somewhere.
We never met, and you knew it. You got it. So then Nina opened the door for me to say, it's okay. You writing about it. The audience response is taking me all over the world. That opened the door to say, it's okay to say the things you want to say. Don't be afraid. You did it in the beginning, but you got caught up with all these external things. Just be Ledisi. You're grown now. You're over 50. Have fun with your life. Express yourself, And so that started the door. That kicked the door wide open. Good life. I came in with a bang. I love my life. I can't complain about it. I wish it could be better. I wish people saw me the way I want to be seen, but now I don't really care. I'm okay with the art I've created. I'm building my legacy. And one day I'm going to sit down and you're going to miss me and you're going to listen to this music again and be amazed. And then I might come back when I feel like it. Who knows? But right now I'm here.
Don't Sade us. Please don't Sade us. Don't be
listen.
She'll hit you for a decade real quick and then get back on tour like she's been gone.
Listen, we're headed there. We are headed there. I'm not mad at nothing she does. Her and Anita Baker, y'all can shut it down when you feel like you come back. But that Nina project opened the door. Good Life gave me open, but then I was relaxed creating The Crown let me paint and be a painter again, music, and not focus so heavily on I gotta be this way, I gotta be that way. None of that happened. It all came naturally, and everybody around me loved this person that I've become. They love it. So yeah, Black woman. Yes, Nina is in there, but she gave me the voice to be me now. And I said the things that we needed to hear. But The Crown is so feel good. I knew we were going to need it.
I love The Crowd. I just wanted to run back before I forget to ask you because you were saying that you spent your savings, I believe, on Nina to get Nina produced. Is that correct?
Absolutely. All the last cent I had. I saved up some money and I said, because it costs money to have strings and big band and a sonic sound of what was, but kind of modern as well. The balance of both worlds. And then flying to Europe to use the orchestration, get the pieces orchestrated and written out. That stuff costs money. Old school way costs money. Okay. New school costs money too, but not as much as if you want a sonic sound that sounds like how it sounded the days before. Using an orchestra and big band does not play. But definitely, yeah, I saved money to get it done. I had to finish recording my vocals. That cost my studio. I wanted the right mic. I can't do that at home and program it at home.
Right.
I could, you wouldn't get the same sound. You would not get the same sound.
What do those people say to you now? Do you see anyone, who had an opportunity to, get on the bandwagon early, but now, look back after all the acclaim and obviously the brilliance go, damn it, I should have or could have?
If I did, I wouldn't say. but
I'm not trying to get you, get you to say nothing good or nothing,
No, I think they're very proud, business-wise, because I took a chance. When I put out Nina, that was the third project on my own label, and it got nominated for traditional pop album. I've never been in that category. So I think everyone was proud of my work. as a business person, taking a leap and a chance on myself. So I think they were proud. The two people I saw, they were like, you have to give me my props. You got to.
You have
and I
to.
didn't do it alone. The people believed in it. It took someone believing in it and finding it worthy of that position. So I'm grateful for all of it. And I'm even grateful for the people that don't say anything, because they keep me great. I have to just keep going, just keep going. Like you, keep going.
Keep going. Right, exactly. So I don't know if I have a choice. I at one point I had thought about opening a karaoke bar.
Oh, that's fun.
And I was going to sit my ass down somewhere. And like that was the plan. And my husband, who normally is, within earshot, but if he hears this, he will know it's the truth. He's been, nudging for when we're going to sit down, period, for some time.
Yeah.
And, it's sort of like, what you said, this is the moment where those of us who deem ourselves to be artists, this is the time in which we're actually supposed to be working.
Y'all better sing and know all the parts.
This actually isn't our time of dormancy. Dormancy is when it's normalcy. Chaos is when we're supposed to be at work. And, I was fantasizing, thinking, oh, I'll be able to just chill out and let the world burn. I'm going to do karaoke. It's going to be just fine. And then I was like, and then after a while, I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to. I guess I gotta go back out here and work these fields. I can't. That's not the way this is written for me. It's quite all right. It is quite all right, because you know what? I get to do things like this. And this is awesome. Exactly. This is absolutely awesome. But girl, hand to God, I was thinking karaoke bar. I was telling people.
I would have showed up, though. I can't lie. I would have showed up.
I was like, these folks are going to kill me. I'm going to be a karaoke bar.
No, I know how to do karaoke now. I can calm down.
I'm assuming so. I mean, is this nothing your voice can't handle? I was thinking, when are you going to do a gospel album? But before I ask you that question, we got to get to, you got me all up in my feelings talking. You got me all up in my feelings. Okay. So after Nina, you come out with Good Life, and Good Life was you celebrating your life and celebrating, just your own artistry, and you coming to that ownership and the agency of that artistry and the business side of it as well. And then the very next year you released The Crown. And, Tasha, your publicist, and I were talking, and like, how black folks get angry when we start saying stuff that we really love. and we started stomping and getting all. So she said there are no skips, and I was like, there are no skips, and I like yelled on the phone, and I was so angry about it. But that's how good it was at the moment, because we were talking about how much we love this album, and so when she said there's no skips, I was like, dude, it's just like the passion and love came out. This album is so good. It is so amazing. Like, were you in that same space that Good Life came from, or were you in a different place? Because not that Good Life had any skips, but there is such a beautiful continuity to The Crown that it almost feels like it's an opera, like an R&B opera, if you will, because you can follow your thoughts, from the beginning to the end.
No, the order was planned after. I put the sequence together to create a full arc, a full life, from from love to good love and all the way to the spiritual part. And it, like every song has a feeling. Like Making a Way reminded me of when I would wait tables for years, right? And then go after a hard day of work, I would want to go dancing and by myself at this little club in San Francisco called The Box. And they would play like Fall Down.
What was going on at The Box, Ledisi?
It was all my LGBTQA plus community.
It sounds like some stuff we be into called The Box. I see that. That's why I was like going, you know what? That sounds like us. It just sounds like, I was like,
it was such a small, it's now called a different club. I can't remember. It was just a straight line like the Shotgun Houses in New Orleans. It was like a small little club that had house music, and it's all kinds of soul house. You had gospel that had house beats underneath it, or like pop music with house. It just felt really, but mainly soul house. And it felt liberating to just dance and cry and wish while, and that song, even though I put spiritual lyrics on it, it still reminds me of that spiritual feeling that I had at The Box. And, there's a certain stage, you couldn't be on the stage unless you were a real dancer. And those girls saw me up there. They're like, come on, honey, come up here with me, you're dancing. And I was just dancing by myself. And I would go every time to release the pain of doing something I had to do, not something I wanted to do. My true calling was one day I'm going to be a famous singer, but I'm singing waitress, slinging plates, and then I'll sing an aria and then go wait tables again and pray for a good tip with my singing. So that's like everything on that. What makes me feel good is all I kept thinking of when I created it. I just want to feel better. And I know, and then when I looked outside myself on TV and everything, I hope this makes everyone feel better, because I think they're going to need this really bad. And that's all I thought about it. Even on the breakup songs, you can't help but feel good. It's like, I wanted that continuous feeling. And sonically, I wanted your ears to be like, I wanted a hug. I wanted you to feel like I want to close my eyes. I want to work. This is going to make me work quicker. This is going to make me work out. This is going to make me fall in love. This is going to make this breakup easier. This is going to make me want to go to church and pray that it gets better. I want all those feel-good feelings to help all of those emotions of a human life, the human experience. Same with Good Life. That was the human experience. It was a little more ratchet, but I liked it.
Listen, if it's not ratchet, I don't think it's human. Even if it's all there, whether it comes out or not is a different conversation. But I think we all got a little something, and some of us are more comfortable with it than others.
Exactly. And I'm going to talk about all of it, but I'm also going to mix it in with my experience. It might not be the words that I'm experiencing in the moment, but it'll be something I have experienced or something someone I know is experiencing. I'll always talk about it all, because I want everyone to get something from it. And I'm loving the response to The Crown. It's blowing me away. I can't lie to you. All of this was not expected. I wanted a break. Okay? I wanted a
But I
full
wanted a
break.
karaoke bar. So here we are, so.
I was concerned with the album that you're going to hear at the end of the year. That's all my focus was. But this came out of nowhere. I just kept painting. I kept going.
So I was going to ask, so Black Woman was the last song that you finished, and
Love You Too was
and Love You Too was the first. So where did the decision to pivot towards a spiritual and more definitive and clearly spiritual sort of passage in the middle there? It's almost like if you look at the entire song, as I said before, like one continuous piece, it almost feels like the bridge.
Yes, there's a wonderful producer on the album. My first time working with him, his name is Jacques Pierre. Worked with Andre Day and a couple other people, and he's starting to work with more people because of me. But anyway, he is a beautiful young artist that loves older music, and he's very spiritual. And I heard my publisher suggested we work together, and I'm real picky about who I let in, but I heard the song Heaven that you hear, and it blew me away. And I've always added a spiritual feeling in my music.
Absolutely.
I just kept it general so that everyone can enjoy it. But on this album, I'm pronouncing things clearer because I feel I have a gospel audience as well that will want to enjoy the music that I bring there. And I'm always being asked, when are you going to do an inspirational or spiritual? I've already started, but I'm going to keep that tucked away until I feel it's ready. But I've already written like 8 songs of that. But this song, Heaven, I heard, and I knew this, it didn't have another verse, and I wrote a more political verse to it, to touch on the time of today.
Right.
And he didn't have that. And he was afraid to add that. I said, well, I can't talk about heaven and not talk about down here. We have to talk about the full scope of the life we're having. Heaven is here too to me. It's not just somewhere up here. It's everywhere. It's all these wonderful things God gave us. Why can't we enjoy it here? Because we're messing it up. And I want to talk about that. And he said, wow, I never thought of that. And I'm so happy he allowed me to create on a song that I already loved and add more to it. And we made it even more complete with a full life of it. And I'm so happy he was open to it, because most artists, they're stuck in one thing. So when I met him, and it took me forever to ask him around August and September. I think it was around August and September. Rex was like, are you going to work with him? But that song hit me, and I said, yeah, spiritually we got to do things there. But yeah, that's why I pivoted.
It was the first time I listened to it. I was actually on a rooftop of a hotel bar early in the morning drinking tea. It was kind of like the perfect spot, some of the nicer bars in New York City. And I was completely surrounded by this vegetation. And you actually retweeted the video that I took when I was up there.
Oh, good. It was beautiful.
That's where I was the first time I heard it. And I was like going, this is amazing. So I'm standing there and I'm just listening to you sing this beautiful song, Heaven. And of course, it's touching me and there's tears in my eyes. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is such an amazing moment. And that's when I just sort of felt there was a connective tissue. Not that your previous works were disjointed, but that this seems to be so definitive. And to hear you talk about your writing and how The Crown came to be, it sounds as if it was very intentional, that, that there's a through line. And even though the arrangement came later, the connective tissue was the space that you were in for that entire duration of writing it.
Yes, when he presented it, I just said it needed to be finished with more, because we're using heaven as a political ploy to make people vote. We're using faith. See, I'm doing this in the name of faith. You know what I mean? But is that what we're getting to? The end goal is to do all these beautiful things here, this heaven, and then the next heaven, to get to that heaven. I want to get there. Can we get there, and can we get there better than how we're moving now? And that was my whole feeling on it. And his feeling was, are we going to talk about it? And I was saying, we are. We're using it the wrong way. I'm using it the wrong way. You know, but I love the question, do you really want to go to heaven? I want us to be reflective as well. Feeling good is being reflective to me. Is thinking about something bigger than yourself.
Is that what Black music should be focusing on right now? Things that are bigger than ourselves.
I would love it to be. I would love it to be. I think we are. It's just in little pockets, and it's subtle. Back in the 70s, well, Beyonce hints on it, and I love that she does. She visually hints on it a lot. You know what I mean? Her tour and the little clips I'm seeing. There are artists out there that are doing it all their lives, but we don't elevate them in spaces like I'm being elevated, because I do the balance of both worlds, of having not speaking of our times, but I don't know. I just did it. It was a natural response to how the world is making me feel. And I wasn't doing it intentionally. I just did it because it naturally felt that way. And it's a scary space to be in if you are known for one thing, booty songs or this song. You know what I mean? If you're known for different things, but even though you're intelligent enough to create this stuff, you're scared because it won't sell. It's still a business, music business, you know? But I took a risk. I'm taking risk.
It's so weird. It's so weird right now. You know, the space where journalism, to your point, finds itself in. And journalism to me is both an art and a science, right? You go to a school, you learn the foundation, that's the science part. But then there's an artistry to being a journalist as well. And that's what I'm speaking of right now. You know, there are ways to talk about topics that are more creative than the straightforward way, if perhaps you don't want that kind of fire, or perhaps you don't want that kind of response from people. But I feel as if we've lost some of the artistry to our storytelling, because what sells are the quick hit fire button, you know, clickbait headlines and, you know, quick little one-liners, and not actually nuance and not really texture, or the things that are part of the artistry of journalism. And you find yourself, you're going, well, I know the science, but but I don't really have the space for the artistry, and people care less and less about the science.
Right. Exactly.
And I feel like that's happening in the creative side as well, like with music.
Yeah, I'm just going to stay in my lane and keep doing what I do and focus on that, because that's all I can control, all I can speak about, because I don't like telling other artists to be something different. You know, they're going to gradually go there or not. It's their choice. But I do say, hey, activate whatever you do, create and activate and exist, because the more we exist and keep staying in I love what you do. I hope you continue to do that. And it might not be the most glamorous ride. Same for me. I'm known now, but I remember when I wasn't, and I'm still not known in a way. My biggest stage is the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And that just happened this year.
Can we talk about the Super Bowl for a hot little second? I previewed it earlier, and you know that was in my head. Like, make sure you ask about the Super Bowl, because it was a magnificent performance. absolutely transcendent, just, just breathtaking. And of course, that's what we've come to expect for you just in general when it comes to live performance. It's just, your voice is one of ones. I'm just, I'm a reporter. I just report the facts. But and then you had in addition to, was the people's response to that performance and to the content. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the haters, because at the end of the day, we know what that's all about. But I am concerned about whether or not you were concerned for your safety, and whether or not there were other concerns that we don't know about that you now feel comfortable kind of sharing, that you were worried about it in the moment.
Well, my management had warned me ahead of time of the possibility of those things happening, and but I never was concerned with safety. I did, and I wasn't concerned with what they said. I thought of my ancestors. I thought of, this is where you rise. This is where you stand, like all the other creators before you, and all the other activism, all the work of all of our activism and our advocates who advocated for our spaces in this world, especially on platforms like this. I have to continue to tell the story. It was bigger than me. It is always bigger than me. So I always think of that. This is not about you. You have to complete the task. So for me, I wasn't worried, but I saw it and it shocked me, meaning shocking, like, wow, this one little song, really? This one little song was making y'all act like this. You know what I mean? It blew me away. And then I remembered, oh yeah, all it takes is one little step. Because nobody wants you to keep going forward. They want you to go, but not nobody, but those kind of people don't want you to move forward. But I also felt like this song needed to be bigger. It wasn't as big to me until I sang it. That's not dogging anybody else. I just felt like it needed to be bigger. Like,
what do you mean by bigger?
It needed the same presence that the other songs get. Meaning it needed to have a big roar, a big thing. Like if Mahalia sang it and Toni Braxton sing it, it'd be totally different, right? Or Aretha sang it, right? So for me, if I'm going to sing it, I want it to be just as big as Whitney made the other song, And I've never heard it like that. And so how do I make it bigger? How does Ledisi make it just as big like Whitney sang the national anthem? And that's what I was looking for. Everyone did it beautifully. I just still felt, how do I make it as big as that? And that's what I was looking for in my search, so that you'll never forget it. And anyone who sings it will make it even bigger if they can after that, just keep making it you're going to hear us, you know what I mean? Like a bell. And that's what I was looking for. I was very detailed oriented. Adam Blackstone knew what the assignment was, and all of his team. Clothing, I was very picky about. What's classic? What's angelic? What's one vision? One focus, heavenly, spiritually, ancestrally. I wanted all of that, visually as well as how it sounded. And the babies behind us, they added the children. It gave it its presence like it did when it first started. It was great. I was like, thank you, Lord. And it's in New Orleans, where I'm originally from. It gave me everything. It's like God set me up for this. It was like it was waiting for me. It was waiting for me to rise to this moment. I was scared to death, of course. And
you were scared?
Yes, absolutely. I was nervous.
Haven't you done Patty in front of Patty?
It don't matter. Yeah, she scared the hell out of me. That was always scary.
I was like, hold up now.
Patty, yes, but this scared me. I mean, I think the first time I sang it was 2 days before, And that's the first time I saw the kids and heard them. I found out they were going to be there that day. 2 days before I had to really do it. I cried.
Wow.
After I finished. Rex had to hold me. Him and Adam was holding me because I almost fell over. That's how my knees buckled. Because all of the power that came out of me, I knew I had to. I said, how am I going to do this again? But I did it again. They said, let's do it again and do it again. So by the time that happened, I was over it. I was ready. It was like, I'm ready to go for the fight. But that day, the first time, I'm glad it wasn't the first time. Oh my God. My knees buckled. I just couldn't move. I mean, couldn't hold myself up.
What is it like seeing, obviously yourself with all of these beautiful babies behind you, and then the halftime act is Kendrick hip hop, for the second night, second time for the Super Bowl. I was at the hip hop halftime act in LA. I wasn't in the one in New Orleans. I missed that one, but it's still the second time in 3 years, and then you're there, and then bam, there's Kendrick. What was it like being in that moment, particularly given the moment that he was also having as an individual artist at the same time?
I felt honored and happy to be a part of that whole thing. I started. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I'm laughing because
no,
it's just perfect. It was a perfect arc to everything with John and Baptiste and Troy and just New Orleans. It was what New Orleans does, is bring all this context. That was a lot. That's a lot. I'm still processing that. That was a lot of stuff in that day. And then Philly wins. My husband was so happy. And it was just a lot. It was a lot to gather of that day. And Kendrick was amazing. The most viewed Super Bowl ever. Hello, it doesn't get any better. And it was black. I was happy that day, and I was a part of it. Someone asked me to be a part of it. I could not believe it. I still can't believe it. When I post pictures of it, I can't believe it. When I showed my Mom, can you believe that happened? And everything I asked for that I wanted, it happened. I'm still processing. I have to be honest. But we needed that. The top of the year, we needed that. We needed that.
What do we need now?
I was the only Black woman being featured. That was a lot.
What do we need now? And what do we need just kind of going forward? I should probably rephrase that, because that could probably just be an episode in and of itself. In terms of, here, I'll tell you the beginning of this question. When Frankie Beverly passed away, I wanted to do this tribute to him, and I wanted to use the live album in New Orleans.
Oh man, that was the best album.
As a jumping off point.
You better know.
Because it's the best album, right? It's the right, exactly, right?
Period.
But I decided to do research on the people who were in the crowd, because I wanted to communicate what it was like listening to him at that time. And what caught my eye was how close that album was to the moment we're having now. Jimmy Carter had just lost the election, and Ronald Reagan was coming. And he was slashing all of the programs when that album was being recorded. And so when I think about the music that's coming out now, what are the responsibilities of artists in terms of providing us with a soundtrack to sort of help us through this time?
We need to activate and create as much of our stories as possible, as much to get us through regular life, everyday life. or the craziness of life. I can't believe the stuff that's happening with us right now in our country. I can't believe it. Like, but I don't want to be numb to it. I don't want to be reminded of it every day, but I do want to be aware. But I also want things to help me escape every now and then, to refuel myself, because mental wellness is so important. But we need more music. We need more of a collective. Like, I love what Angela Rye is doing, collecting us together to have dialogue, to have education, to have music along with that. She's not just doing one thing, she's putting it all together. It reminds me of what we did before in the past, but on a newer level. So I love that part of it. We still need to just be and exist and tell our stories and keep our stories forward, because the erasure of that physically is just mind-blowing. Like, so we just forget now because you erased it physically? No. I mean, we keep talking, we keep passing it on, we keep creating things.
I have to say, out of all the things about that aspect of what's happening right now, the notion that, like, it's not just us, right? Like, everyone knows.
Yeah.
And like everyone, I mean, like, Iceland knows, like, Australia knows, like, everyone knows. Like, we can't, like, this isn't, you can't, like, that genie, that bottle is so big,
So
like,
right.
it'd be gone. Like, like,
it is the weirdest thing. I'm like, listen,
did you see the protests in London during the George Floyd, after George Floyd was murdered? The protests all around the world.
Around the world, Brazil. We ain't forgot, because we all saw it. We all saw it, because we had no choice. We were locked up seeing it.
Right. Like, what, like, how is this going to work? Like,
But that's the thing. We need to do what we did there, but protect ourselves even more. Do you know what I mean? But still, I feel like some of this fight is not our fight, the whole thing. There needs to be other people now to stand up and start speaking, because we've been speaking. Black people have been speaking, have been using our bodies for the fight. Everything. We've done, I don't know. We've done it all. There's nothing we haven't done to fight. Now it's time for everyone to join in that fight. You know, speak your voices, come up. Now that you see what things really are, because we've been saying what they really are. I don't know what else to do. Like, but I'm creating, keep speaking, keep having platforms like this. Tell our stories. Others come and tell, come and say, come and speak. Because there's still a generation coming in now with AI, with all these other things that can distract you from the truth. So we have to still keep our history going. And when we have platforms, make sure we make space for those things, for social justice, for advocacy. We have limited spaces, so keep those spaces open with those things. And I'm doing my part. Behind the scenes, you have no idea. I'm a quiet protester. There's a lot of us that speak out, but in a different way, not so physically and verbally. But I do mine through my music. I do it behind the scenes with saying, hey, have you thought of? I have emails. When I see something, I speak up. But I barely talk. But when I do, the whole world going, uh-oh.
Well, listen, it's the voice. It doesn't matter if you're singing or talking. We listen once you start using it. So that's just the voice, the power of it. Now, you're on tour this summer.
Yes. And that's part of advocating.
Let's talk a little bit about the tour, because you're not touring alone. And I love the fact that you share your stage and your platform with some of the best R&B artists, whether it's, you know, in your recordings with new songs like Perfect Strangers, which is still my jam. It's too much my jam. Like, I play it too much. Like, it give like a husband like going, why you keep playing this song?
Who
I don't
is it?
understand.
What's going on?
That's why. And I'm like, oh no, that's just my jam. I'm like,
See,
yeah, but
that's the
you
rapping
got
part of
other jams though. You got other jams though. Why you still? But what
I
I'm
get
saying is
that
that
part. It's because you like the sonically, you like the voices
yes,
together.
exactly. Thank you. You know, but I did have to stop playing it though. But, but but you love pairing up with these, you know, these incredible other R&B singers. And who are you on tour with? And are we going to see you paired up on stage?
I'm with I have Marsha Ambrosius coming on tour with me. We've been friends for a long time. We keep in touch. Queen Anita Baker is one of our mentors, so we all kind of keep in touch with each other. She's a great friend, great, incredible songwriter. She wrote Magic on Good Life, and I asked her formally through management, can she come on tour with me? And a couple of dates she can't do, which is Detroit and Georgia. On those dates, I have the wonderful Rasan Patterson. He's one of my greatest mentors. And I'm so happy he's able to do that date. And then in Georgia, I have the Kendrick family soul. They are an amazing couple that's been married couple, been together for a lot of years. Known them when I started. We've been all these people I've known forever since the beginning of my career, and they've also reached when they were doing something, they reached and lifted me. So it's just me going, hey, can you come hang out with me? You know, and I love vocalists. I love having. I'm hoping Marsha and I can get together, but it's kind of hard on stage because I go on kind of later than her, and she starts it. So we'll see what happens if that can happen. I'm going to ask her about it, but we watch each other shows. Like she was at Blue Note Jazz Festival last year, and so was I. I'm sitting underneath her. I'm trying to hide. Well, sing Marsha, you know, it's crazy. And then on the side of the stage, you see her sing Marsha, you know, it's crazy. We're both fan of each other's, and there's no. It's crazy how people say women can't get together. Well, in my era, we all got together. We had to, you know what I mean? So we're used to sharing the stage and being kind to one another. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
And how much Nina are we going to hear when you're on tour?
Well, you will hear it. I guess you're asking, is Black Woman in the set? Absolutely.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking. You know,
I can't do Nina at that show, but definitely Black Woman is definitely it's a piece, so it'll be.
Well,
there.
I'm checking to see, are we getting the, you know, all right Ledisi, or are we getting, you know, for women Ledisi? Which one we get?
You're like, are we getting? We're gonna get all of that. Okay, from over the years for now.
All right, I do yoga then, get my neck working out so I can.
But I know it's gonna be a lot of singing. Oh my God, it's a lot. I'm trying to do a whole section of there's a favorite section everyone loves is the acoustic section. I'm gonna do that. So that'll be a lot of fun stuff. I'm excited about it.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Ledisi, thank you so much for your time.
No, thanks for having me. And I'm so proud of you, LZ. I'm so proud.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I'm proud of me too.
That's what I want to hear.
And that sounds crazy, but like to say that out loud, like takes a lot.
No, I know. Like, I know it took me years to do that, but do it every day.
I'm proud of me too. I gotta go play Bravo now. I'm gonna go play Bravo. Just get myself hyped up.
Yeah, you ready?
Oh shit, gotta be a performance in the first episode. Oh shoot. Instead of Tidy Death, I got a Tidy Death performance.
I would have been cute for this. You should have told me. Nobody told me nothing.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm not wearing this hair because my hair is done.
We need a part two. So I could be like,
you know, I'm going to catch you on a tour. I'm going to catch you on a tour, and then we'll do a catch up.
That would be wonderful. You got me. We'll do it on tour, and then we can be together.
Then we'll be cute. It'll be cute for the second episode. Thank you so much, Ledisi.
Thanks for having me, and congratulations on your podcast. I'm really excited for you. I can't wait to listen.